Good afternoon, everyone, and today we are going to continue our discussion on teaching aptitude, which is our first unit. And today, of course, we are talking about evaluation system. We have already finished like a lot of topic in this class, and today we are going to continue our discussion with evaluation system, which is like most important topic in teaching, and definitely you're going to get one question from that. And we have first of all, we should understand what evaluation stands for. Why? So evaluation is not like not only at the end of the particular semester or a school, but also in the mid course you get a different kind of test that is also comes under evaluation. And for that we have everything. So in the beginning, first of all, we are going to learn about the system. So the evaluation aim to measure student progress and reform the education system and enhance accountability for results. Educators and administrators conduct assessment to foster a learning environment that promotes creativity. So this is just about it. What is evaluation? Evaluation can be any kind of assessment, tests, quizzes, whatever happens. At the end of the at the end of the it could be at the end of the class, at the end of the course. So some features are that it is a continuous process. As we know that evaluation can happen from the beginning to the end. It's like communication continuous process. So evaluation is continuous process. The method of teaching and learning is closely related to this. So the cognitive aspects of test is not only evaluate as done in an easy type examination, but it also evaluate the changes that occur in affective and cognitive factors. And it is a social process. Of course, evaluation is a social process. As a part of this evaluation, all aspects of individual's personality are assessed, as well as if the instruction has been conducted under society's need, ideas and norms. One more feature is comprehensive. And comprehensive is an evaluation encompasses everything that can be evaluated. And again, evaluation can be child-centered. Evaluation is child-centered process, which gives importance to the learning process, not the teaching process. It is a descriptive process, and of course, just give me a second. Sorry, excuse me. So remedial means what? Something happens in between the course to evaluate whatever problem students are facing, and we evaluate that in between through test, and we find out what is the weak point of a student and how we help them to overcome. So it is also cooperative and collaborative process. Teaching method, the effectiveness of teaching method is evaluated. Common practice, multiple aspects like concept focus on the total personality of the students. And decisive process, evaluation is a decisive process. After this, it is decided that whether any object or process is valuable or not. So that is just simple. Now we have some function is there. These is all related to your judgment, what evaluations function could be. So the first thing is the purpose of the evaluation is to assist a teacher in discovering problems continuously and comprehensively. And the term remedial work refers to the correct solution after identifying the problem that I told you. An educator can provide an appropriate response to facilitate a change in learners' behavior. And we will just jump into the important point where you usually get the element of evaluation system is simple, that evaluator and institute, there should be an evaluator and institute, there should be audience and participants, that could be students, and purpose, objective or aim of the evaluation, why we are taking and what is the goal of it. And data collection is simply whatever the performance aspirant or test taker has done it. And data analysis at the end, whatever we come under the marks and all, whatever we give, that'll be data analysis. And of course rubric and grading is very important. When we set some particular rule about the work, that comes into rubric and grading. So rubric indicate achievement criteria for all components of students work, from written to oral to visual. A grade book can mark assignments, class participation and overall performance. So there are two types of rubrics, holistic and analytical. Rubrics are useful grading tools that help instructors grade student work consistently and accurately and also fairly. So that is a rubric types of evaluation. So I'll just give you simple example of rubric, what we do. Remember, when you do any online test or like in IELTS, or even if you are doing mock test in our Google Classroom, we have the mock test, right? We set a particular rule. Suppose we are talking about an essay. Okay, I have given you one assignment that you have to write an essay, and how I can set up, I don't have to go and check that, so that rubric can come automatically. Suppose, okay, if there is a mistake of spellings, if there is any mistake in spelling, what that much mark should be reduced. Or if the sentences are grammatical mistake, if there is, we can set a rule that it can also reduce marks. An important point, which means we'll just put keywords. These keywords, if there are, the marks would be given. If these keywords are not presented in the essays, the mark should be reduced. So these kind of rules we give. So that is your rubric and grading. So types of evaluation, which is very important, and it is also very much like, this is where you're going to get questions from net. First of all, you have to know what is formative evaluation. Formative is assessment is, or it can also called formative assessment, or formative evaluation, or formative feedback, and assessment for learning. So these are all like synonyms. They can ask anything among these. Right, the term formative and summative evaluation was coined in 1967 by Michael Scriven. Remember the name. And also, what is formative? Formative is designed to provide ongoing feedback to students, and that can help them identify their strength, weaknesses, and also the area that need improvement. And here faculty can also identify where students are having difficulty and take immediate steps to address the issue. So no grading is involved. They can be informal and take various forms. So formative is not like it is at the end of the exam. Like suppose somebody is in 10th and the board exam is coming, that is not formative, that is actually summative. And at the end, whatever happens is summative, where we give grades according to that. And in formative could be tests, quizzes, or maybe some projects in between. So these are small things. Even it can be oral. Some question teacher will ask during the class, and that performance also comes under formative assessment. So remember the keyword, that it is just through the quizzes, feedback, uh, some writing assignments, all these are formative, or homework you can say. These all are formative assessment, and it is essential to provide students with effective feedback, the active participation uh, of a student in their learning process. The assessment results should adapt teaching. The importance of assessment here is influencing the motivation and self-esteem of pupils, and two of the most important factor influence their learning. So the need for a student to be able to assess themselves. So with the formative assessment, student and also teacher, to evaluate like what are the weakness of the students and what are the advantage and where they can improve. So whatever the steps are taken based on these kind of exam, that comes into summative. So some example are like test, quizzes, pre-board exam, mock test, unit test, chapter test. So in class discussion, weekly quizzes, and homework assignments. So these are the keyword that you should remember. If you remember this, you will definitely get that the assessment, formative assessment, it will be clear for you. So benefits are simple, that you can judge it, like a student will be familiar with the topic. They will find what is their weakness, what is their strength, and how they can improve, right? So these are the and for benefits of formative assessment. Again, now we have summative evaluation, and which is it can be summative assessment, summative evaluation, or summative of learning. In simple word, whatever happens at the end of the academic year or end of the course, when you go do the test and you get grades for it, when either you are pass or fail. So these are summative exams. So like 10th board, 12th board, or any kind of at the end of the academic year, in your like BA, bachelor degrees, or masters, whatever the exam you give at the end of the academic year or course, that is your summative assessment. Clear, right? Very easy. Formative and summative is quite easy, and for with example you will understand. Like an exam of summative assessment is midterm examination, a final project or final paper, a senior recital, a final exam such as board exam, semester exam, and yearly exam. So now next is diagnostic evaluation. That is quite important, and net is keep asking based on diagnostic evaluation. Diagnostic is simple, whatever like in the simple, if you have phone, you just do diagnostic test, right? Phone or laptop, and you find out what problems are there in the device. So exactly it is like for diagnostic, where it deals with the whole difficulties at the and that occurs during the learning process. So whatever is children or students are facing during the course, that is diagnostic, and with that we find out what kind of weakness and strengths are there. So this evaluation can be done in between the course to evaluate student. So like suppose one student has difficulty to learn in mathematics. Okay, that's because he doesn't know the basic formula of mathematics. So you'll just do one diagnostic test for the student, and you'll just give like you'll ask formulas if he remembers, right? And when you find okay the student doesn't know the formula at all, so that will be your diagnostic assessment, and then you will teach according to that, and you will teach first of all those formulas and clear the doubt, and then student will again get back on the track. So as a form of pre-evaluation, diagnostic evaluation allow teachers to assess a student's strength, weakness, knowledge, and skills before they begin the teaching learning process. So when a problem arises during the teaching process, it is helpful to know the cause. Furthermore, it enables the teacher to come up with possible solutions. Okay, again, this requires the use of a especially prepared diagnostic test and many other observational technique. Again, one is progno prognostic evaluation. That is also important, and that they have already asked many questions related to that also. So a prognostic assessment, simply it estimates and predict a future outcome. So if you do the test, these kind of tests to the students, and you will find, okay, this, if these people can, if this student will solve this, we are sure that he will pass the exam. So you will know what will be the future. And of course, it involves combining aspects of an evaluation and learning process with an assessment of learning achievement in order to formulate a diagnostic for the students' future performance. Got it? And in prognostic, the extent of deviation from a system expected formal operating condition is used to determine the future. One example, blood pressure and cholesterol level are both biomarkers that tell us something about the state of someone's health. Got it? And norm referenced evaluation, quite important, and that is also a little bit tricky, because referenced and norm reference, sometimes people make aspirants make mistake, and for that you have to pay a little bit more attention to it. So first we'll understand the criterion referenced evaluation, and then we'll come back for this. So in that way we'll just move into the order. Got it? So let's talk about criterion references. So it is the exam in which performance is assessed by the expected or desired behavior. Okay, tests are evaluate the test taker based on a set of standard or criterion reference. So most tests and quizzes that a school teacher write can be considered criterion reference. So there will be set of exams. Suppose I'm giving you a mock test or any exam you're following, and there are like 100 marks of the paper, and then you have to particular like 60 marks pass 60%, or 60 marks are if you achieve 60%, you will pass the exam. So through that, these are the criterion reference. So we have already set a particular criteria. The student has to score 60% in order to clear the exam. So got it? So that is criterion. You have the criteria for it. In this case, the objective is to see whether the student has learned the material. A criterion reference testing approach is central to standard-based education reform. Usually regular test quizzes occurs in the classroom. State achievement tests and high school graduation exam also follow a criterion reference format. Got it? So there is the possibility that all test taker may fail or pass. In this model, there is no difference, like if this person has scored 80% and the other scored whatever the marks, it won't affect that 90% whoever is scored will not reflect on the other person. But in non-reference is different, because it is based on cutoff and all. Whatever we in net exam, there is cutoff approach, right? And that thing is non-reference. So there is no particular set of rule that okay, if the person has a score of 50%, he's passed, the result will be like passed. No, you will still be called failed. And it is important. Others marks definitely affect in what norm criterion, but here criterion reference, it doesn't matter if other students score higher than you or less than you. Got it? So there is possibility that all test taker may pass or fail in this model, in contrast of norm reference assessment, criterion reference assessment based on a specific criteria, but norm reference is not. It is all depends on the all the performance of the students together. So student score on criterion reference test is not affected by the performance of the other student. So for example, since if a student receives 60 out of 100 on a test, his score will be 60. There is no correlation between this score and the performance of other students. So the purpose of driving test is to determine whether a test taker is skilled enough to obtain a driver license, not to determine whether one test taker is more qualified than the other. Got it? So it is also common for citizen tests. So these are just simply, these are the tests that through that example you might have understand what is meant by criterion referenced evaluation. Now again we have a norm referenced evaluation, which is quite tricky because it is a test, assessment or evaluation type where it is based on comparing performance between students. So if some students score more and some less, that will affect the score. Got it? So within a particular group or a student of similar age, experience and background, and it determines the position of students among the group. So norm reference testing compares a student's knowledge, skills to knowledge or a skill of the norm group. So it reports whether test takers perform better or worse than a hypothetical average. So here tests are compared to the performance or result of a statistically selected group of previous test takers, usually in the same grade level or age group. So whatever the system of cutoff, all these things are comes under what norm referenced criterion test. So I hope you got the point. It can be used to achieve any desired distribution of grades as long as the curve represents the normal distribution's probability density. So remember in this we have this thing BRE grading. These curves are important, so little bit they have asked deep ones regarding that, and for that we have BRA or grading on a curve, or AME or CANE. So these are the grading curves, that is, remember, because suppose if most of the people have scored less mark, it will be represented by all these marks anyway. So the curves are like students are assigned numerical scores if the order of the score reflects the relative performance of each students in the course. The absolute values are less relevant. So these scores are not converted to percentile. So grades are converted from percentile value by dividing the percentile scale. So these are the mathematical aspects of the norm reference criterion assessment, and where the interval width of each grade indicates the relative frequency. So that is we have norm referenced, clear, and again one is ipsative assessment. So ipsative assessments is like assessment compares an individual performance only with their previous performance, and in these assessment a respondent compared two or more desirable option and pick the one they prefer. So ipsative means individual performance only with their previous performance, sometimes called a forced choice scale. For example, through example you'll understand, on a weight loss diet is judged by how their current weight compares to the previous weight, rather than how their weight compares to a standard or what another individual, right? Again, quantitative evaluation is like a quantitative evaluation use scientific tools and measurement. The result can be measured or counted. So whatever is there countable, like whatever marks are there, that can also be called quantitative evaluation. So there is a focus on countable values in quantitative assessment tools. A specific set of standard is used to evaluate individual skills, knowledge, and performance matching outcome. So it also can be take the form of an objective exam with multiple choice question or a short answer question. Qualitative is like a description of people, events, situation, behavior, interaction and interactions observed. So like in science, qualitative observation are defined as observation based on the 5 senses, which are more subjective than qualitative evaluation. It involves a value judgment. So a case study is kind of qualitative assessment tool where detailed information about scientific participant or a small group is collected and presented, often including participants' data. So we have actually included many kinds of tests, but what is most important is like diagnostic, prognostic. One is referenced and another is norm referenced criterion. So these are quite important test or evaluation or assessment. Placement is simple. Placement is we do one assessment to determine what the placement of the particular candidate. So this assessment is used to determine the knowledge and skill possessed by a student at the beginning of instruction. So through that you either you get a job, or if you're doing for a college, that placement evaluation exam could be like test, like entrance exams. So through that that is your placement evaluation. So college and university use these tests to assess a student's college readiness and place them in class. Got it? So in order to measure individual students' growth, a placement evaluation is conducted before instruction or intervention, also known as pre-assessment or initial assessment, or you can just say entrance exam. Case study evaluation, another is a case study assignment involves the candidates reading and interpreting data information to discuss one-to-one in a group or in writing. So sometime the assessor will tell you what happened rather than provide you with written information. So these are the case studies evaluation. An organization, a person or a scenario needs to be analyzed and written about in a case study. Okay, so there are 3 main types of case studies: intrinsic, instrumental and collective. Survey, simple, you do survey, you create survey form and give, and through that you evaluate. So it is often used to gather information about a student's satisfaction levels, or to ask a student how much they have learned through surveys, which are the example of indirect measure. So it could be happened with Google form, Google sheet and other things. Got it? Statistical is to statistical analysis aims to uncover pattern and trends in data by collecting into it. So that you design, right, tables, you design bar and all, and through that you determine you evaluate the particular data. So it's like we can provide evidence to student learning in the curriculum by examining assessment data, determine program strength, weakness and guiding a decision. And we are just like only 2-3 more systems are there, and that is continuous and comprehensive evaluation system, that is CCE. So you just need to remember the full form of it, and it in 2009 the Rights of Education Act in India directed continuous and comprehensive evaluation, CCE, to assess the students. So CBSE in India introduced this assessment and proposal for student in 6th through 10th grade as well as in 12th grade in some school. Again, there will be couple of more, which is cumulative grade point average, the CGPA, to evaluate academic performance. So student cumulative grade point, what is CGPA, is calculated to determine their standing overall in Bachelor of Engineering program, including all the course counting toward the degree and in the minor if applicable. CBSE, we know it as a board that conduct exams. Again, NTA net, that we are net aspirants usually. These days UGCNET are taken by NTA, so National Testing Agency. Another is choice based. So here choice based credit system. So student enroll in the CBSE can select courses from a prescribed list of core element, elective, minor or a skill based, where he chooses what subject he has to study. So computer based testing, CBT, whatever the exam we are taking right now, that is computer based testing. Got it? Again, content based instruction is known as content based instruction. So focus on the content or information that a student will acquire rather than a linguistic or another syllabus when teaching a second. Types of test that we are talking about: diagnostic test, that we do during the class to find out what problem students are facing and what kind of solution we can give. So that is diagnostic. And placement test is before we test a particular set of exam we give to place that particular student to a particular course. So there will be some criteria that he has to pass in order to so that is placement. It could be your college exam, entrance exam. Prognostic is what we do the test to check the future outcome. If this student can pass this exam, he might be able to pass in the future. Or we just perform like students is not paying much attention, then the result will be different. Aptitude test, simple, we just test the particular aptitude. It could be teaching aptitude, logical ability, numerical reasoning and all. Progress and achievement test, there are short term progress and long term progress test. So short term is what? This assessment measures students level of understanding or learning in specific units or chapter. A teacher can determine whether remedial or consolidation work is necessary based on the result of these tests. Long term progress, these tests are called course test because they check the learner's progress over the course. Proficiency test like TOEFL, IELTS exam. Performance test, there is typical performance and a maximum performance. So typical performance is the performance of an individual is evaluated in the context of given situation. So it is not it is important to note that answers are neither right nor wrong, but rather identity choice. So it's like when you do I can say just go to bodybuilding. No, there is performance, like in the gym you do like simple, and then there is a maximum person. You have a set of time that you have to perform well, then you just put more focus into it and complete. So these tests aim to determine an individual ability to perform effectively in a standard condition. It is possible to judge the correctness, incorrectness of participants' performance on these tests. Internal test, whatever test is happening inside the school or inside the class is the internal. External could be TOEFL, IELTS, SAT, all these kind of exam. Objective, MCQs, what we do, there will be points where you have to in simple word, MCQs. Subjective, it will be like writing and all. And combination test, it could be TOEFL, IBT, test of English, foreign language. So that's all for the unit 1. And remember what I'm going to do, I will be sending you tonight itself mock test. Tomorrow you are going to do mock test on this. Some of the question that we have just solved quickly. We talked about learner centered approach, right? Answer I'll just hide first. Learner centered approach is centered on teacher needs. Is it good? Learner center, when it is about learner centered, you should understand it is about student centered, where everything is based on the uh, learner's choices. So just give me a minute. Or simply you can say personalized learning, when it is about a student, where learner is the primary plays the primary role. There you have we just create one course based on the learner. Like I said last time, there was suppose one student wants to learn also paper one and criticism and this, and also she wants radio or uh, wants video and other all these things. So what teacher will do, he will create a course based on the particular need, particular student's need. So in that way, that is learner centered, all personalized. So here statement 2 says learner centered approach is centered on cooperative determination of the subject matter. So that is kind of cooperative determination. So simple statement 1 is incorrect, because their teacher need nahi, students and learners need. So first it was obviously, and second because it is cooperative determination of the subject matter, that is statement second is correct. Got it? So easy, right? We have studied, so we could answer this. And to your surprise, it is from the previous year 2023 itself in teaching aptitude. So I hope you got the answer. Which of the following technique to provide right kind of support in right amount of time to increase child's competency? So it is scaffolding. Answer is scaffolding. And Swayam Prabha is educational learning platform initiated by DTH channels. So here is the question, by who? And we have talked about that. Also, Ministry of Human Resource Development, now Ministry of Education, or University Grant Commission, or Consortium for Educational Communication, or All India. So answer is your first, right? Ministry of Human Development, that we studied I think yesterday. One question is that a learner combines her previous schemes or modify them as per new experience. So the process of combining and modifying existing schemes and to arrive at new scheme is known as what? Adaptation cannot be, it is accommodation. It is again, it is about personalized learning. So again, one more question is there. Which of the following curriculum development models come under technical scientific model? So again, now we are talking about technical scientific model. So curriculum development models come under technical. So is it Wallenstein and Fantini model, Tabas model, open classroom model, or Rogers model? So it is Tabas model. So for the explanation, I'll add tomorrow explanation. We'll go once again. Okay, which of the following statements best describe the brainstorming method? So brainstorming we talked about, there will be one idea and people will generate ideas based on that. The production of large number of ideas, small step presentation, feedback, no. Content delivery in lucid language, themes based introduction. So answer is first, production of large number of ideas. Easy, right? Which of the following are the main characteristics of learner-centered approach? So which of the following are the main character? Learners. Again, see, many questions have been asked from learner. That I said, no, personalized learning, but they have asked in different word. So we have the main character. It is based on rigid curriculum. It is centered on cooperative determination of subject matter. It is mainly centered on teacher needs. Definitely not. We can just remove this. It lays emphasis on variability of exposure. So all 4 points are the right, and we have to find the answer. It is centered on cooperative determination. So that is true. We have already seen in the statement kind of question. So that should be there, and of course C should be not there. So we can just simply remove C. Where is C? In two options C is there, we can just remove. And where is B? B in only one option, right? We have here B. And D, it mainly centered on teaching. D, it lays emphasis on variability. Simple, we could just answer B and D. B is it is center cooperative, and D, it lays emphasis on variability of exposure. Easy, right? So the channels of Swam Prabha are uplinked from Bisag, where simple we talked about it. It was Gandhinagar, right? Easy answer. So you see, you can answer all of them correctly because you had the advantage. We have now finished unit 1. We are now going to do only mock test on teaching itself. So tomorrow you will get at least 50 questions or maybe 100 if possible mock test. Got it? So given below are two statements. TPAC, Technology Pedagogical Content Knowledge, that we studied. Framework has been developed by Mishra and Kochler in 2006. TPAC framework companies of total component. So the statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is incorrect. Question number 10 is in your screen. Which of the following statement best describes summative evaluation? That we studied. Again, I told you one question they asked from assessment. Last time they asked about diagnostic, right? And here they are talking about summative evaluation. So it is what? Simple. Summative is at the end of the term or end of the academic year. So the teacher clarifies the doubt of the student in the class? Definitely not. A teacher awards grades to the students after having transcended the coursework? Could be, but let's see. During interaction with the student in the classroom? Definitely not, because during they are asking in the classroom and it's about feedback. During the class? Definitely not. The learner's motivation is by the teacher's thought. A question answer session? Definitely not. So the closest answer is here. A teacher awards grade to the student after having answered the course. So simple, right? We have the answer here. Got it? I hope you understood the topic. The good news is, congratulations, we are able to complete our unit 1. On Monday we'll have research aptitude unit 2. So on Monday I'll see you, but tomorrow make sure you attend the mock test. There will be 100 question or maybe 50 you have, or only in teaching aptitude. So for that you have to really attend the mock test. Anyway, thank you so much, and whoever is new here can subscribe the channel. Maybe tomorrow I'll also share one mock test here, but if you join the class you will get 4 or 5 mock tests tomorrow itself. Okay, so for now, bye bye, and I'll see you on Monday. Thanks.